Hi and welcome to my PlayHouse, and today we're gonna be upgrading a server. It's the Lenovo x3550 Model 4, and I'm gonna be upgrading the CPU, and I'm gonna be putting in the RAID controller. And the RAID controller that I'm gonna be putting in is an Adaptec one. I have forgotten which number this has. I'll be writing that down here somewhere, I think, or putting it over here. I'm not sure yet. Editing, Morten, remember to put it over here or down there, which model number this has. But before we get into that, I have to beg something of you, because I have the toughest audience in the world, probably the toughest audience. My channel is being watched by system administrator, guards, and it's very tough to get guard to do anything. But the YouTube dudes, they keep changing everything from times and times again. And now it's important to hit that damn bell thing that they put up there. Otherwise you won't be notified of my videos. And if you have like 500 channels that you have subscribed to, which you actually can, I think the limit is 500 channels that you can subscribe to. But well, if you have 500 of those, well, YouTube won't know which one that you really want to watch and which one you just subscribe to in random to be godlike. So if you would please hit the bloody bell thing that they put there, it would be awesome, so that I get more views on my videos. Back to business. I got this new Lenovo x3550 server from Sweden, from Björn, and it was broken when I got it. We fixed that. But it has a really slow CPU in there. It has an Intel Xeon E5-2603. That is the absolute slowest CPU you can get for that server. And well, this is most likely gonna be a server that is on 24/7. So I really want something that can kick ass if I needed to. So I've been out searching for new CPUs for it, and I was so lucky that a subscriber of mine asked if I needed a couple of CPUs for it. And as I actually did need a couple of CPUs for it, well, we got into negotiations on that. So I have here two CPUs, and these are the Intel Xeon E5-2670s version 1. These are 8 cores, 2.6 GHz CPUs, and they're exactly like the ones that I have over here in that one. We can see that, it's in view, awesome. In my Lenovo x3650 Model 4 over here, exactly the same CPUs. These are a bit powerful, they benchmark pretty high, but we're gonna be putting those in. But it's not just putting in a couple of CPUs, because this server only has one CPU right now, so there was missing some stuff. There were missing 2 fan blowers. When you put in 2 CPUs, you need all the fan blowers in there. When you order a server with just one CPU, they don't put in all the fan blowers because they are not needed, and you don't really want to have a lot of fan blowers blowing that you don't need, because it's just wasted money, power out the window. So you need a couple of fans, and you need a heatsink for that server. It doesn't just take any heatsink, it needs the right heatsink for it to work. So I got that too. The fan blowers was like, I think I paid £25 for that. I got it on eBay in the UK, but they were sent directly from Hong Kong. So awesome. And then I got a heatsink also from the UK. I paid £11 for that, and £20 shipping. Not funny. Here it is. Let's get it unwrapped. Well, I think I paid for the wrapping. It's really well wrapped for a piece of metal. It's not the most fragile thing in the world, but here is the heatsink, and here is the box that it came in. I think that could fit 25 in there. So we're gonna be installing that together with the CPU. So let's get cracking. So here is the server. It still has the USB stick with Exponology on it. I'll have to redo this USB stick, but I don't want to do that on camera because I just need the 10 gigabit Ethernet card and the other Ethernet card to be available. But well, that's boring to see that again. So we're gonna pull out the server. It's still powered. I have lengthened the cable so this is possible. We saw in another video that I took out these two metal brackets and put in the CPU instead. To put in an extra CPU, you need the two missing fan blowers. Oh, I think I can actually see it on the label here. It was this one and it was this one. That was the two CPUs that I put in. Okay, so for putting in an extra CPU, you need those two fan blowers installed in the system as well. They're gonna be blowing air this way, and the CPU is right here. So when this CPU is not there, there's just one fan blower to keep this sector cool over here. There's some RAM slots down here, but they're not used. All of this is not used when there is no CPU there. So as you can see, the LEDs are blinking down there, so we have power on the system. I'm gonna remove that. There, powered off. Then we're gonna open up here. This is a plastic air buffler, and it actually has some channels in here to direct the air to where it's needed and kind of let the right amount of air through the different sectors. There's a big hole over here and a big hole here where the CPUs are. Then there is smaller gaps here for cooling the RAM. Also here they have kind of made this little hole here for cooling that amount of RAM here, and over here the same thing. No, I don't see how this RAM is getting cooled. Yeah, this sector of RAM is pretty much boxed in. Not sure how they thought that was a good idea, but well. So in many systems you will see a plastic thing on the server here when there is no CPU. They have not done this in this system. They have instead taken out a couple of fan blowers and putting in metal brackets that made sure that the air would not go through here. This server has 64 gigabytes of RAM with this one CPU. To get the right amount of RAM in here with the second CPU, I need to do something with the RAM as well. Upgrade it or, well, do something. I haven't actually thought about that, so that's a new thing that I just realized. But let's put in the CPUs. The CPUs are here. They were better wrapped when I got them. I removed a little bit of that. So we have my little makeup table here, and let's get them out of here. Two CPUs. This one has a little bit of gunk on it from last time it was mounted. I'm gonna wipe them down a little bit. Not sure why, because I'm gonna grease them up in just a little bit, but well. So for this to work, it's important that the CPUs are exactly the same kind. So I do believe that they are, otherwise we will run into problems because the server will not run with two different CPUs. So we're gonna remove the plastic thing here. How do we do that? I forget. When this one is up, it's pretty easy. I'll save that one because this socket is fragile as, well, you just have to damage one of these thousands of pins and you're, well, So we're gonna put in the processor, and we have to put it in the right way, otherwise this won't work. And it seems like it goes in this way. There is a little triangle down here which corresponds with a little triangle there, and I can see like there is a little bit of a knot over there, and that corresponds with some missing pins over here. So that should be good. There we are. I'm gonna put this down. And then these arms have to go in the right order. This one has to go down before that one, otherwise it's not gonna happen. So I'll put this one down, and then this one down, and the CPU is locked into place, pressed against the pins. Then we need some cooling compound. I usually use this compound, which is very inexpensive, but now that I actually have some expensive thingy, Arctic MX4, well, let's just put some of that on. Compared to all the other stuff in the server, this is cheap. And then the new heatsink. Where did we put that? Here is the heatsink. These heatsinks are available in two versions. This one is actually the wrong version. This one should actually only be used up to about 90 watts, I believe. Where there is another one where it's all copper, and that is really the one that I wanted, but it was way too expensive. So I have to remember not to, otherwise this heatsink will not supply enough cooling for the CPU. And there we are, done. I'll do the other one. It doesn't have to take this long. Done. So here's the CPU we're taking out, the E5-2603. That was a quad-core 1.8 GHz without hyperthreading. So now we are putting in 8 cores with hyperthreading, 2.6 GHz. Quite an increase in performance. So for RAM, right now it has 8 blocks in here, and they are 8 GB each. So I'm going to be taking those out, and I'm going to be putting in 8 blocks of 16 GB, which makes that this server will have exactly the same, but it will be divided on both CPUs. I'm only going to be using the first RAM slot in each of the RAM channels. These CPUs has 4 RAM channels, and you get the best optimized performance if you equal out all the channels. I've done a couple of videos on memory balancing. If you don't know what this is, it's a good idea to start there. So, but first they have put on tape here to remind everybody that the RAM banks over here is only in use when you install the second CPU. So we're gonna take that out. We have now installed the second CPU, so we need the RAM banks. It will run with just the RAM over here, but it's not gonna run as fast, because if this CPU needs RAM, then it will have to communicate with the other CPU and the QPI link in the server to get the access to memory over here. So it's better to give it its own memory. So we're gonna put in these blocks here, HP branded. Funny enough, they are exactly like the other ones. These are from IBM branded. The chip layout, it's so similar that well, from just looking at the chips, you would really not know that this block is double the size of this block. There is also a bit of difference in the frequency. This one is 12,800 and this one is 14,900. So better performance probably also there. The white slots are marking the first slot in each memory bank. It's actually just that they have made it easy for us to do this right. Done. So same amount of blocks, just divided on the two CPUs in the right memory balancing order. And now I have 8 GB blocks over here for some other awesome project. Then we have this RAID controller. I've taken this out of a Sun server and it was giving access to some DASs on that Sun server. And I like the form factor of it. So we're gonna be putting that in over here. I'll just put it on this one and take the riser card out over here. There. This is a very small riser card, but it's a real X16 riser card. So this is really where you would want to put in your graphics card, but they have kind of put it in a corner where there's not room for anything at all. Or maybe a tiny one. Something like this one, if the bracket wasn't so long, that might actually just go in there. A little NVIDIA card here. Yeah, that would be able to go in there, but it's really small. So I'm gonna be putting in this. So I'm gonna be putting in this RAID controller there, which is gonna be controlling the two disk shells beneath, with the 48 drives that this storage server is gonna be connected to and controlling. Well, I just took out a couple of the fan blowers. This is the original one that came with the server. It says 2012, 19th of February, and this one is the one that I bought, or I bought two of these. And this one is from 2016, 8th of May. So, and they had the same part number for this server. So there was a tiny difference between them. The label, also the company that has made this has put a label on the back here, where the original one, well, actually it does. Sorry, it does have a label here. Same company that has made it, so I guess it's all good. They've just put it on different sides. Really weird. Here it's on the bottom, here it's on the side. The original label is like that, and this one is upside down. I don't know what's going on there, but well, who cares? And they're really easy to put in. It's there. Okay, I think we're done here. I think we can put this back into the rack and see if it still boots. So this is going to be the storage server for this amount of data down here. This is 24 times 2 terabytes, and this is 24 times 600 gigabytes. These are SAS drives. These are SATA drives. So I put in the USB stick and it hides the power on button really well. This USB stick is gonna go inside the server when I'm done configuring. I have to redo this. I don't want to do that right now, but let's power it on and hope for the best. We upgraded quite a lot of stuff here, so well, cross our fingers. Okay, it's booting. It's checking the memory now. That has changed quite a bit, so it might take a little bit longer. I'm not sure, but it's showing something on the screen, which is always good when you've exchanged all the RAM and the CPUs, put in an extra PCI Express card. So not a bad start. It's complaining about RAM down here. Did you notice me do anything wrong? In here in the BIOS it says that the DIMM PFA threshold is exceeded. Funny enough, it sees 128 gigabytes. Of course, when I put in 8 16 gigabyte slots instead of 8 gigabyte slots, well, you double the RAM. So CPU 1, 4 blocks, awesome. CPU 2, 4 block, awesome. They're at least sitting in the right positions. It also sees the adaptive RAID controller, so that's good. This probably has the oldest firmware in the world, so I will probably have to think about updating that. Okay, here at the computer, the software has booted and it does not recognize the Intel Xeon E5-2670, but it sees it as a D1527 and it only sees 4 cores. Weird. I have to look into that. So there is room for some improvement right there. But it sees 128 gigabytes of RAM, so that's definitely better. Well, so I still have some small things to look at here. Why it's complaining about the RAM, why Xponology is only seeing 4 CPUs. Well, small minor things that I'm sure I'll be able to figure out. So awesome upgrade. Please do remember to give this video a like, admins. And thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again. And have a really nice day, admins.